All right, take number 3 on this video. I didn't want to hold the camera in a way where you saw me, and I just wanted to focus on nature today. Look at that reflection, it's pretty cool. Just focusing on the trail today, how beautiful it is. It is currently 25 degrees. Should be one of the last cold days of the spring. And the colors are starting to come in. A few buds on the trees. Grass is starting to green. And spring is here, more or less. Still chilly, still a little nipply outside. But Zip doesn't seem to mind. Oh, sorry, buddy. Is that just for the camera? Thanks, guy. Every year, you know, we could go that way. We could go this way, which is the way we're going to go. Every year I've added more to this trail. It gets easier and easier to maintain. And now I have so many different paths that I can take that interconnect that depending on how much time I have that morning and what mood I'm in, we can extend the walk, we can circle back on stuff, we can go visit certain areas, and we can, for part of that, turn the camera on and say hello to our friends. Bird song is starting up, although they're a little sleepy this morning with the cold, but the birds have been out and chattering. You see this stuff on the ground. This is why during windstorms, not the best to walk around in the woods. This guy is not growing out of the ground. It fell out of the sky, stuck right in there. You walk the same trails enough and you get to know the various trees and what stages of life and death they're in. And you'll go out, having walked through the woods dozens of times, and there'll be a new tree down, a new something happening, a new something growing. Endlessly fascinating. This is the area I've been working in lately. That was all thick with briars, and now has been chopped down into little piles. And I was standing here the other day thinking about what to do next. Because right now I'm in the center of it. And there's definitely enough briars here to keep me busy. But do I want to clear out a whole area here? Or I really like making the paths and then widening the paths and doing it that way. Kind of snaking through the woods at random, looking for the dry spots and where I can set up a trail where I will inevitably have some compaction, but I'm not causing too much damage. And as I spent time out here in the woods, I got to thinking about how do I, who can I get to help me rehab these woods? What have I done in the past that would make sense now? Here's my current area where I was the other day. Those things don't rust, so I tend to leave them out so I can get just back into it. How do I continue to revitalize the forest, but in a way that brings in some agriculture and makes it so I don't have to do all the work? Because now I'm at the age where I throw my back out by sleeping, which I did last night, and now my left shoulder and arm are just in pain. So being in the forest and having raised mixed livestock before, pigs, I think pigs are a great idea. We have all this acreage back here. I've been clearing out trails so I can put up border fencing. And as we go out, I just kicked the dog in the face. Sorry, buddy. I'm going to stop talking and concentrate for a minute so I don't hurt myself. it was this spot where I had started making videos a year or so ago that made me think of the pigs, because, let's get there, it has this drop off in the corner. And I got trails from the farm and brewery that I can get a vehicle in here and then back up with a trailer. I'll have to bring this level up a little bit. Back up with a trailer, so I've got essentially a loading dock. So my current goal, this used to be all standing up and was pretty thick, is to knock all this down, clear out the dead wood, roll everything into the forest, have it be some habitat, but get rid of the invasives. You can see I've been cutting stuff off the trees. And then I can set up my corrals and handling pens up here, right in the corner where even when it's wet, I can access it with a machine. There's a slope downhill so that the moisture drains, and so I'm not loading pigs in the mud. And then this can create a hub point that they can go that way, that way, that way. I'll just star it, depending on how I kind of plot it out. I think that's going to be a goal, is to clear this out, get my borders clear, go to the paperwork and plot out my pig fencing and rotations, and then take the whole view of the farm and decide where and how many pigs I can raise. You know, if you're preserving pasture for poultry and ruminants, pigs do great in the woods. How many pigs can I have? And just for fun, because we have all these buildings on the farm, you know, brewery's got floor drains. We got a storage barn. There's the tasting room, which is another big building that's temperature controlled. How would I turn, if I was going to maximize agricultural livestock production on this property, which has its own baggage like every property does. So I was going to maximize how many pigs I could raise and then slaughter here to manage costs and use my barn as a grain hub to support local farmers, you know, buy in bulk, and be a distribution center, feed my livestock and other people. What does that all look like? It's a fun dream. Some back of the napkin math that I think I'm going to do. Plot that out. Man, what a beautiful day. The sun is out. I no longer feel like it's 25 degrees. And maybe I'll take you with me to the end of the walk. This is our northeast field here at the brewery. These poles, this field we called the orchard because it used to be an orchard. There were 350 apple trees here. And these poles were a fence, deer fence, high tensile wire that where we took down so it's easier to mow. The wire would go in there, and then the little peg would go down and hold the wire in place as an insulator. You'd have high tensile wire going out at an angle, make it harder for the deer to jump over it. And keep your apple trees safe. I wasn't here for the installation of the apple orchard, but if we look around, there are hilltops everywhere. We are in a glacial valley somewhere around 18,000 years ago. A glacier came through, took all the topsoil, and dumped it in southern Connecticut and washed it out into the river valleys. This land empties out into the upper Aspetuck and then the Housatonic from there. Can I get through here? It's going to be prickly. And what was left, when the glaciers left and receded, melted away was clay and stone. Lots of clay, lots of stone. So over the next 18,000 years, we had like 6 to 8 inches of silty topsoil on top of that. Then, settlers came and invaded and kicked the natives out and clear cut everything, turned everything into fields. So all the forests are second growth forests. And we'll continue down this way. And why I'm bringing all that up, having walked out of the orchard, is that when the orchard trees were planted, instead of being planted above grade, they were planted below grade, because that was a thought at the time. Not the correct one, but a thought. And over time, those trees couldn't develop a root system because there wasn't enough ground. It was so wet that what little root balls were there rotted out. And one day, I went out and just pushed them all over by hand because they were all dead. I think 3 trees out of 350 survived. And that was heartbreaking. But what are you gonna do? Lesson learned. Growing fruit is hard. And so it was a field for a while, ran some livestock in it. Now it's hanging out, waiting to be utilized again. We'll go up this hill. Can't help, I spent 15 years looking at property and land and working a farm and working on other farms and talking to other farmers and going to the apple conference, National Chicken Conference. And you walk around, you can't help but dream. What about this? What about pigs? What about chickens? What about more cows? What happens? Oh, it's beautiful. It's perfect. All right, 12-minute video. I'm breathing heavy. Let's go look at the dog. He's way out there. We'll call him in. He's like, oh, John stopped. You'll start to see him in a second, and then we'll say goodbye. Zip, you want to say goodbye? I'm going to run right past you. Enjoy your day. Take care of yourself. And we will talk to you soon.